Well, the people on the Atheist Experience did their usual business of evading the issue of Islamic terrorism, and my favorite kangaroo did an admirable job of eviscerating them for it. However, I would like to add a correction to one particular dumb remark made by the hostess. The little cupcake on the left, the far left.
Watch this.
Well, the literal words of the Constitution say that that black people are 3/5 of a person. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I really think that most grown-ups in this country really do know that that comment is bullshit. And I strongly suspect that even she knows that it's bullshit. She's not some, high school dropout. She got her BS from the University of California and shares it all with us. And you know what kind of BS they give people there. Anyway, this particular myth gets repeated so often without being challenged that I'm going to explain this one more time, real slow, and I hope it sinks in. First of all, I acknowledge that hundreds of years ago there were plenty of people who considered some races to be less than human. People even argued whether black Africans or Australian Aborigines had souls and whether we should share the gospel with them. Of course, nowadays we know they don't have souls, nor does anyone else. So you can stop preaching the gospel now. All you missionaries can go back home to your original position. But this 3/5 bullshit had nothing to do with the issue of how human black people were. During the writing of both the first American Constitution and the 1787 Constitution that we still use today, people argued about apportioning taxation and representation among the states. They didn't have Republicans then, so there was nothing about Benghazi, and they discussed apportioning taxation and representation among the states, among other issues. They reached agreement that the census for apportioning Congress should include all free people, including free blacks. It also counted indentured servants, but would not include the Indian populations that were largely governed by their own tribes. Indians paid taxes, they would be counted in the census. Then there was the contentious issue of whether to count the slave population. The United States had slave states and free states. The states that had ended slavery did not want to count the slave population at all because that would give the slave states more representation in Congress. And conversely, the slave states did want slaves counted in the census since that gave those states more representatives in the House of Representatives in Congress. Let me repeat that real slow. The free states did not want to count the slave population. The slave states did want to count the slave population. Do you really believe that the slave states were arguing that slaves were more human and the free states were arguing that they were less human or that they weren't human? The 3/5 compromise was about apportioning representation in Congress, not how human slaves or free blacks were. It had nothing to do with that. And I don't know why a person with a college degree today doesn't know that.
There you go.